How's it going, everybody? Saul Sunforge from Dungeons and Taverns, and in this video I want to show you and explain to you the skills. I'm going to describe what they are and maybe some examples of situations you would use them in, for you to make determinations on which ones you wish to pick up for your character. And I'm going to try to do it with no notes and in one take. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. Alright, so let's bring you on over to the character sheet. Okay. In our last video, if you watched it, which you probably didn't because I just made it and put it out in the last 20 minutes. I'm on a roll today. But we went with a barbarian, so we're going to go back to a level 1 barbarian. And all this other stuff doesn't matter right now. All right, and then for name, we'll call him Clomps, and I'll save him. We'll use him for our future examples as we go through the character sheet. You know, for the things that I've already explained and whatnot. So we know a level 1 character has a +2 proficiency bonus to start out. All right, let me get my dice out. We're gonna actually roll up Clomp's stats. I might make him an NPC, or at the end, you know, you could also make him an NPC or use him as your character if you wish to. That's fine with me. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the 4d6 drop the lowest method. We're not re-rolling ones. We're not gonna re-roll ones, and there's no re-roll on any stat that is at least a 5. Usually, DMs usually, to be nice, do at least a 7, but we're going hardcore. At least a 5. So if it's a 7 or a 6, we're eating it. We're eating it. All right. So the first roll, and I wish I could bring you with me, but I don't want to keep moving the camera, and I'm waiting for my friend Josh to give me mine back. All right. So we got a 5, a 4, and a 3. So we keep the 5, and the 4. So 14. And we'll just keep track of these over here on the side, so we could apply them where we want to. All right. Next roll. A 5, 4, a 3, and a 1. The 1's the lowest, so we got a 12. A 5, a 3, a 2, and a 1. The 1's the lowest, so we keep the 5, 3, and 2. And that is a 10. Five, 3, 2, and 1. So keep the 5, the 3, and the 2. So that's another 10. Give me a big number. Nope. A 6, a 2, a 1, and a 1. A 6, 2, and 1. That's 9. Oof. 3, 4, 5. Come on. Oh, that one fell off the table. Alright. 6, 4, 4, and a 1. That's a 14. Okay, so that's not the best character, but, you know, it's not the worst. You could definitely do something with that. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and... Wait, how do I get back to... Oh, there we go. No, we don't... The hand is what we... There we go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make the 14 and the 14 our main abilities for a barbarian. Alright, so then we have a 12, a 10, 10, 9. So we'll do 12 for Dex, 10, 10, and 9. There we go. We can switch back to typewriter and delete that box there. Alright. Then go back to the hand. So we'll do our bonuses now. And the more you do this, the faster it will come, for sure. All right, so there we go. So let's figure out. You know, we haven't picked a race for him. We probably should, so we could get more appropriate numbers. But for right now, we're not going to pick a race in this example. We'll pick a race later on when we do a different category. But for right now, we're not going to. All right, so our saving throws, which we covered in the last video. All right, we know the ones we're proficient in, we add a proficiency bonus to. So those are both 4s. All right, and then Dex, we're not proficient in Dex, so we just carry the 1 over here. For intelligence, we have nothing. No intelligence. For wisdom, we actually have a -1. And for charisma, we have nothing. All right. So the ones that have nothing, you know, those are flat rolls. Whatever your dice says is what you get. The -1, then you roll whatever your dice says and subtract 1. All right. So for these, what I do to get them done faster is I will go through the stats here at the top down, and then go fill up each one in that stat, and then go back up and do it again. So strength, it's there's only one that's strength is athletics, and then okay, so dexterity is the next one. So we have acrobatics, sleight of hand, and stealth. All right, then constitution. There is no constitution ones anymore. Intelligence. So everyone for intelligence, we do just a minus sign, like a hyphen through it, meaning no, like nothing. You could write in a 0 too if you wanted, whatever. All right, so wisdom -1. We had animal handling, insight, medicine, perception, all right, and then charisma, that's nothing. So we put the line for all the charisma. That's deception, intimidation, persuasion, performance, and there you go. You got those are all done. So now what you do is you go to the player's handbook, the page that has your barbarian class features, and we see that we are proficient. We could choose 2: animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, and survival. So we'll probably we're gonna go ahead. Our dude's gonna go with athletics and survival. He's a wilderness boy. Athletics and survival. All right. So what that does is you add your proficiency bonus, just like you did with your saving throws. Remember how I told you it's all-encompassing number? And so then you add the proficiency bonus to it, to the athletics, and then to the survival. So 2 plus -1 is 1. And there you go. You have those. That's how you do your skills. And then other things that will affect your skills. your background, your background will give you access to additional skills. And those we could look at those real quick, I suppose. Well, I was going to do a whole section on backgrounds. I think I don't want to confuse anybody. I was going to do a whole section on backgrounds because I don't want to do information dumps and just that's not the way people learn. So we're just going to cover just this part, and we're going to cover each skill. Okay. You hit my pen. All right, acrobatics. Any type of situation where like you're walking a tightrope, or you want to do a flip, or you're trying to do two actions at one time, jump and duck. Maybe you're trying to do some kind of death-defying leap. Those are acrobatics. Animal handling is horseback riding uses animal handling, but maybe out in the wilderness too. You can use animal handling on wild animals to either tame them or maybe try to perhaps befriend them. Arcana is mystical. You do arcana checks. If do I know this ancient language? Do I know what secrets this magic item may contain? That's arcana. Athletics. How long can you swim? Are you a tough, strong man? How far can you jump? How high can you jump? Maybe climbing a rope. Anything that uses anything you would have done in PE uses athletics. Or anything that you see in the Olympics. Deception. You're trying to trick somebody into believing something. You try to trick a guard into thinking you're royalty, or that you're with the nobility class. You trick a security guard into the warehouse because you're saying that you're the inspector, and you want to make sure that all taxes have been paid. Those are some things there. History, whether and history is a little bit different than just regular history like you would think. In terms of the history ability, you can apply your tools. If you're proficient in tools, like say stoneworking, and you're a dwarf, you learn history above and beyond what somebody else would in relation to stone. So you get to apply your tools to your proficiency. But see, insight. Whether you believe somebody's story or not. Deception versus insight are the contested checks. Somebody's really trying to deceive you, but you rolled a high insight and you can see through it. Whether you want to let them know that you can see through it or use it to your advantage is up to you. Intimidation. Intimidation's another one. It's based off of charisma, but it also could be based off of strength, and you could probably see how. A charisma intimidation is like a force of a cult of personality, a force of magnetism. You walk in the room and you command respect. Everybody stops talking. It doesn't necessarily have to be a thing of beauty. It can be a thing of beauty, and that definitely helps people be charismatic. But it's just a force of will. And then intimidation using strength is using your muscles and your size. And, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to pound you into the street. Where am I? Oh, investigation. Like a Sherlock Holmes. You're looking at clues. You notice that there's a little bit of a draft coming through the wall, but you don't see how that's possible. You roll an investigation check, and This wall here, this piece of the wall is actually a door. It's belayed by the current, the draft coming through, and I can see scratch marks on the floor. That's investigation. Medicine. Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, don't worry. I'll get my healer's kit. And you roll medicine. And I didn't heal you at all. I actually threw dirt into your wound after I squeezed a lemon into it. Sorry. Nature. A good nature check out in the wilderness, and you maybe you're lost in the woods, but you want to do a nature check and see that moss is growing on a specific side of the tree, and that tells you there's the water's this way, or there's the mountains here that's green on this side. That means the other side's probably desert, or what is that herb, and then you use your herbalist kit, your tools, and your proficiency bonus, and you can apply it to your nature that specific time. And you can always, as a player, look for those specific examples, because that actually helps build out the game more. It makes you feel part of it. Use your tools. Perception. How well I can see around. But players, and more importantly, DMs, perception is not just what you can see. It's what you can hear, what you can smell, and maybe even sometimes what you can taste. Your perception is all your senses. Most DMs and most players think of perception in terms of the eyes, but if you do perception in terms of ears, it changes the game. If you go into a town and you look around, you can see it's busy. Okay, it's a town. But if you go into a town and you look around and you can see the hustle and bustle in the streets, and you hear the sound of horses trotting about the street, and you can smell a warm apple and a strawberry pie in somebody's windowsill. And that good smell permeates in the air, and it forces back all the bad smells in the city. And all you can smell is this mouth-watering pie. And you've been traveling on the road for weeks. I mean, isn't that completely different? That's completely different. It changes the game phenomenally. Come on. But that's perception. And perception's, that's one of the higher used skills. So, my advice to you as a player, if you can be skilled in perception, do it. Performance. You're a wayfarer. You're at the inn and you're begging for money, but you can play the flute. So you stand by the camp, you stand by the fire in the inn, and you start playing the flute. You leave a hat out, and people start throwing in some coins after a while. You're using your skills to get some money. That's performance. Or you met a dragon head on, and you were not expecting this dragon, and the dragon seems to be willing to barter with you guys. You persuade the dragon to barter with you, that if you guys put on a really good performance, a really good show, the dragon will let you free. And that's your only way out, because you're not skilled enough or have good enough weapons to take on that dragon yet. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna start dancing and playing instruments and doing anything you can, try to maybe make the dragon laugh, read poetry, whatever. Those are performance checks. Persuasion. You want, it's a diplomatic thing. You meet with the king and all of his war commanders and his advisors, and they're going back and forth on how to deal with this invading army coming up. Whether we're going to meet them head on, or whether we're gonna surrender, or whatever, and because maybe we're outnumbered. Well, you want to persuade the people in attendance that you want to take a group of archers, swing around back of the city, position yourselves in the hills with the cover of trees, because it's, you know, you're in a forested area, and you want to take the archers up there, and you want to set it up so you can soften up the melee troops, and your archers will have advantage for being on the high ground. That's persuasion. Religion. Usually that comes with a, you know, that's usually like a history and religion kind of go hand in hand. History covers everything else. Religion covers specific religion history. Devils, demons, angels, anything in that territory. That if you want to ask the DM if you have knowledge of these creatures, of where they're from, their weaknesses, their true names, the layers of the abyss, Hades, the nine hells, who Asmodeus is, those are religious checks. Those are religion checks. Sleight of hand. Sleight of hand is when you want to sneak up on somebody and you want to take their coin purse and snip it off and catch it in your hand and put it in your pocket and slowly disappear into the crowd. But, and players and DMs don't think about sleight of hand as also putting items onto somebody, planting items onto somebody to get them caught for something. You can use it as a very powerful tool to get rid of your political adversaries in D&D. A painting came up stolen, but you make sure that it's known that the painting is stolen. But you happen to go ahead and bring it and put it in somebody's stall, that their merchant shop stall, and they get nicked for stealing that painting. So therefore, you can come in and you can take over their industry with your goods. Oh yes. Stealth, sneaking. You don't want whoever or whatever to notice your movements or your whereabouts. You stick to the shadows. You get down low, tall grass. You're sneaking around. Maybe you want to use it to get into the castle, but there's some guards patrolling. You don't want the guards to see you, so you stealth. Your stealth is countered by their perception. Survival. You're out you've been traveling in the desert. You've been traveling for weeks, and your party's exhausted. The heat of the sun is beating down on your face, and your skin is just getting blisters from the sun and the heat. And you guys are out of food, and you're almost out of water. Well, you're gonna roll a survival check, so this way you can find out if you were able to find an animal or something that you were able to hunt and kill, or find the oasis for some water. You're in the forest, and the ranger, you guys don't have a map to go off of. In order not to get lost, the ranger would roll a survival check, or whoever the party lead is for that specific instance. Your navigator is what I like to call him. Your navigator, the one who leads the party. They roll a survival check to see if there's a good place for you to make camp, and that you guys won't be able to get noticed as well. It's the different a low roll is the difference between making a camp just off the main road or on the main road itself, or hiding in the nook of a hill at your backs. And so this way your the light is shielded that way, and you have a whole process of trees, a big tree line in front of you to block a lot of the light coming from the fire that way. That's the difference between a high and a low roll for survival. So there you go. There's the skills, how you make them, how you apply them, how you get them. And there's feats that let you add additional skills. And as a DM in game, if a player finds a way to get somebody to teach them, in my game there are several people who will teach you, whether you do a quest for them or you pay them or they owe you a favor. They'll teach additional skills, and then you'll be able to apply a proficiency bonus to additional things. But as written in the game, there are feats that prodigy, linguist, gives you extra languages, and keen, and lets your perception be higher. And there's a whole bunch of feats that affect your skills. And if your DM allows you to have feats, take a look at some of them. And I know some of these skills are role play, and there's different styles of D&D. There's combat heavy versus role play, and I don't think they're really verses, because I try to implement role play in my combat. But most players do tend to take combat stuff. But I also encourage you to go ahead and take a look at some of the role play stuff, and it's a lot of fun. It could be a lot of fun. D&D is what you make of it, and hopefully I can give you some tips to help set you up right and make your journey a lot easier for you. So there you go. There's the video on skills. Hopefully you enjoyed it. The next video we're gonna do is maybe weapons, health, equipment, and I'm not gonna try to draw this out into each section being a video. I'm gonna try to get done in 4 or 5 more videos, even though there's like 9 or 10 more sections. So, we're gonna save this, and we are clumps. So, from clumps to you, have a great day.